1 minute. Thank you. I think my clock stopped. I'd like to call the October 19th, 2021 Sarasota County School Board's board meeting to order. Good afternoon. The public is encouraged and welcome to address the school board at the hearing of citizens. If you wish to speak, fill out a hearing of citizens card and return it to our board assistant, Kathy Tompkins. At this time, you will be called to speak at the appropriate time. Today, we have the Sarasota JROTC presenting the flag. Please stand. And we have Keely Clayton from Sarasota High will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Center, face, forward, march. Center, face, one step forward, march, forward, march.
Thank you, Sarasota County JROTC. This afternoon, we're pleased to have our student representative, Keely Clayton from Sarasota High School. Welcome, Keely. It's nice for you to join us as student representative. Please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, I am a senior at Sarasota High School. I'm participated in 4 clubs, which contain Student Government, La Sertoa 1-9 National Honor Society. After school, I would like to attend the University of Florida and be either an OBGYN, anesthesiologist, or an engineer.
Well, thank you. Could you tell us about the Civility Squad character trait for October and how it affects you?
The character trait is respect others. You are you, and I am me. We can agree to disagree. Personally, this character trait affects me because I am in 1-9, which is one of the clubs I participate in. 1-9 is a female student-led club that focuses on and discusses social issues and injusticeness. I joined this club in order to have a safe space to provide my opinion and to hear others. In here, as a member, we strive to support others and their opinion.
Well, thank you very much. for serving as a student representative. And, you know, I think respect others is very important. You talk about the 3 hours we have in education, reading, writing, arithmetic. I think we'd like to add that fourth hour, respect. And that seems like something you've already learned. And thank you for much for coming, and we wish you the best of luck in the future. And we have some special presentations today. I would like to invite Brian Hirsch to the podium to begin the presentations.
Good afternoon, Chair Brown, and school board members, Dr. Asplin, Mr. DeLeo, and Student Representative Keely Clayton. And thank you for that transition, talking about safe spaces. I think that's what we're going to talk about a lot today. Thank you for allowing this important opportunity to speak with you about a program with Embracing Our Differences. As the district liaison for Embracing Our Differences, I wanted to share with you that tomorrow, October 20th, is a national initiative to prevent bullying known as Unity Day. It's an opportunity to unite and promote kindness, acceptance, and inclusion. So Embracing Our Differences, an organization and our partner, is dedicated to creating a better world powered by the arts while advancing character, building in our schools and community, always aligned to the Florida standards. Today, you'll hear directly from Embracing Our Differences professional team, and with us is Sarah Wertheimer and Ben Jewel-Plocker, as well as 2 students from our high schools, about how unity is being advanced in our high schools this year. At this time, please welcome Ben Jewel-Plocker, Education Director for Embracing Our Differences, to provide further insight. Ben.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, school board members, district administrators, and community members for welcoming Embracing Our Differences here today. Developed by retired Sarasota County Schools counselor Jennifer Maney as part of the nationwide Pacer Center anti-bullying initiative of the same name, the Unity Day initiative promotes inclusion and belonging through a full-day workshop of team-building activities that encourage cooperation and communication while providing opportunities for students to embrace their similarities and respect their differences. Embracing Our Differences is honored to continue the work started by Ms. Maney during her time with the district, and thrilled to be offering Unity Day events in all 7 Sarasota County public high schools this fall, thanks to the generosity of the Charles and Marjorie Barancic Foundation. At each participating school, 12 student leaders and 3 faculty members have been identified and recently participated in a full-day leadership training workshop at Suncoast Technical College, where they not only explored the role they will play in their individual Unity Day events, but they also had the opportunity to connect with peers outside their school community. Additional students are being selected at each school through teacher nominations with an emphasis on alternative leaders, or students who are leaders within their peer groups, to provide the greatest diversity of participants possible. In all, between 70 to 90 students will participate in each school's Unity Day event. Today, student leaders from Riverview and Sarasota High Schools have come to share their impressions of the Unity Day experience. While some have only had the chance to experience what their Unity Day will look like from the recent training, others have participated in past school Unity Days. So I'm going to pass this over to our 2 student representatives, and then I'll come back to conclude. Blake, would you like to share?
Hello, thank you so much. And I'm not going to lie to you, I'm a little nervous. A lot of you in here. And I am honored to be here today to speak in front of the school board. And I was not expecting to be offered this role today. And I just wanted to speak about Unity Day a little bit and talk about me. I am Lake Eastep, and I'm a senior at Sarasota High School. And I was offered the amazing opportunity to join in a Unity Day at Sarasota High School 2 years ago as my sophomore year. And it was amazing to me when Ms. Westbury was telling me about it, and I got to meet the amazing people, administrators that work at Unity Day, Embracing Our Differences. And it was amazing to see that somebody was trying to do something like Unity Day. Because for me, I had never heard of it before that day then, and I had no idea that they did stuff like that. And it was amazing to me to learn and hear and go be a part of it. And it was amazing for being able to learn the new perspectives that it offers, as Unity Day offers to students. New perspectives to embrace everything from your gender, your sexuality, your ethnicity, your religion, and anything else. And it's amazing to find those people that go to your same school as you and be able to meet and talk and have that amazing opportunity. And I just wanted to say that it is amazing that I get to speak about it today and encourage more people to go and encourage more students to go, because it truly is an amazing experience. I had thought, to be honest, not a lot of it when I first heard of it, but after being there and being a part of it and being included, it was amazing. From the activities we did to being able to greet new people whom I've never seen before when we go to the same school. It was really an eye-opening experience, an accepting experience, because it's nice to see that there are people at our school that accept every part of you, and there are more people than what we all see. And we need to be able to lead and set the tone for everybody else. So it is amazing that we can be able to go there and learn from everybody else so we can better ourselves, because truly I believe that we need to know where we came from to know where we're going. And part of that is that there are so many different people and there are so many different aspects of life that we probably don't know about, because as myself, I have so much to learn about where we came from, and there's different parts of life and different parts of people, and this is just one way that helps that we can all learn about everybody else and be able to unite and truly embrace our differences to make a better community. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm honored.
All right, hello everybody. So like Lake said, I am also quite nervous, but that is a-okay. So a little bit about myself. My name is Sydney Hill. I am a junior at Riverview High School. This is my first year participating in Unity Day, and I am also a part of the Coexistence Club led by Dina Sturm. Coexistence, it ties heavily with Unity Day. So something that I really like about Unity Day is the idea that it almost breaks stereotypes, and stereotypes to me have had quite the impact. And I like Unity Day because it really brings everybody together, and I think that that is such a really important thing for students nowadays, for anybody, society nowadays. There have been so many different things going on, and something like Unity Day is a great way to bring others together. So, going into the Unity Day training, because to be a leader, you have to go to this training, I barely knew anybody there. Maybe out of the around 80 kids and staff there, I only knew about 6. But after the few hours of going there and the many activities that we went through, I felt more comfortable and I felt like I was able to connect better. And already that's just saying something. If I didn't know barely any of the people there, the environment and knowing more about Unity Day, it really helps you open up and realize that you aren't alone, and that if you have struggles or you're going through certain situations, that you really aren't alone. You're heard, you're understood, and you're accepted. And I think for students and even staff too, that's something that they really need to hear. That's why I strongly encourage that many students and staff should encourage others to go to this Unity Day, because there are many students who feel like they're alone and they feel like there's no one who understands what they're going through. But this Unity Day, it helps them understand that they're not alone and that they can truly be heard and understood and accepted. And I also think the teachers should go too, because it helps the teachers also understand what those students are going through. And I think that by bringing everybody together and unifying them, it can truly help us embrace our differences and come together as one. So that is all I have to say. Thank you for having me here.
We weren't able to bring students from some of our farther south high schools today, but back in 2019, we held a Unity Day at Northport High School, and there was a great story, uplifting story, that we heard from some of the faculty who were part of that afterwards. There was a student who attended the Unity Day who had been having a lot of attendance problems. He wasn't showing up on a regular basis. The faculty had tried to work with different interventions, and they hadn't been successful. And after Unity Day, the student showed up for school every day for 2 weeks straight. And they talked with the student, and he said, I feel like I belong here now, and that there are people I can go to if I'm having difficulties, and they'll listen to me and we can work through them, and I don't have to feel shame about that. So on behalf of Embracing Our Differences Board of Directors and staff, thank you for your continued support of inclusion and belonging within our school communities. While today's presentation focused on the Unity Day initiative, we are excited to share that over 8,200 pre-K through third grade students will be participating in Bucket Fillers Reading Day on November 16th, which utilizes the concept of an invisible bucket to encourage positive behavior and warm hearts. We are also thrilled to once again welcome virtual and in-person students field trips to the 2022 Embracing Our Difference exhibit in Bayfront Park, January 18th through April 8th, 2022. So thank you again, and this concludes our special presentation.
my thing went off. Yeah, I'd like to thank Embracing Our Differences. I remember when it first started. How many years ago? 19. And how wonderful it was, and that the quotes and the pictures that were presented, had themes. And, whether it was from a young person or an older person, but there were themes. And I saw how, black and white in the beginning, and then there was students with disabilities, and then there was, sexual, identification. But one thing I saw through that, oftentimes the adults and the students had some of the same feelings. And when we started getting them from around the world, those same ideas were presented. And as they changed from year to year, it didn't matter whether you were from Sarasota or you were from Washington State or you were from Iran. I mean, some of the same stories were being told. And I think Unity Day is a wonderful thing that you're doing for our schools, because high school is when you've left high school and you think back, you think high school days, they were the best days of your life. But when you're living them day to day, they go on for so long, and the feelings that you get, you think the world is coming to an end some days for you. But you'll realize that after high school, a lot of those negative things go away, but it's that making the connections and finding the friends that will not only help the students perform, but will get them into school, because that's something we all need. We need to feel united. We need to feel together in this. And I really, truly appreciate everything that Embracing Our Differences does, and encourage everyone to go down to the Bayfront and see the displays that they do every year. They're beautiful. They're wonderful. Or even, I suppose it's too late to even submit quotes this year, right? That time has passed. I was lucky. I had a quote put in once, and my daughter's kindergarten class had a picture put in once, and they were so proud. But really appreciate how you reach out to our schools. Thank you. Jane?
Well, I too want to say thank you to Embracing Our Differences. Such a wonderful organization, doing teacher training, doing all kinds of outreach to our schools. But the most important of all is the outreach to students, and what you all said about Unity Day is really, really profound and important, because we have to be authentic. We have to be our authentic selves. And sometimes that's not easy to do when you're in high school. I can remember being very shy, retired, quiet. That was a long time ago. But in any event, I want to say thank you, Sarah. Thank you to the staff and to the students for being here today, because Embracing Our Differences makes us all know that there's so many things that we are alike on, and there's so many ways of embracing all of the things that we do and can celebrate with each other. So thank you all for this, and thank you for Unity Day.
And again, you mentioned the field trips. Do you still offer free field trips? You have something. They offer field trips for the students in Sarasota and Manatee County schools to come and see the exhibit. And as an added bonus, they will try to work with the other organizations, like different arts organizations, the Florida Studio, the Moat Marine, and so many others, where you can make a day of it. So you can go and see the exhibit and then also see something else. So it's a wonderful day that we can provide field trips for our students that won't cost the kids anything, and that's a wonderful thing. Thank you so much for all you do. We will also have another presentation from the Barancik Foundation's, the Ripple Effect Awards. Chris Renoff.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board, Superintendent, Mr. DeLeo, and Ms. Clayton. Thank you so much for allowing us to be here today, and again, fabulous presentation, again, to hear all about unity and acceptance and belonging. What a wonderful, wonderful opportunity for all of our students and our staff and our community. As you may all be aware, back in the spring, Terry Hansen, the president and CEO of the Charles and Marjorie Barancik Foundation, was here to share the incredible news that in honor of Charles and Marjorie Barancik, Ripple Effect Awards were going to be given out to 10 of our amazing teachers each and every year. 5 would be given out in May in honor of Chuck's birthday, and therefore 5 would be given out in September in honor of Margie's birthday. I'm thrilled to be here today to let you know that our second round of Ripple Effect Awards have been presented, and the recognition and celebration of the extraordinary teachers that has been captured on video for you all to see. Please take a moment and turn your attention to the video monitor.
September 29th is Marjorie Barancik's birthday. Half of the namesake of the Barancik Foundation, Marjorie was an educator and philanthropist. It was through those eyes she saw the value of rewarding teachers who truly make a difference.
Education is the red thread that goes through all of our areas. Margie was an educator, so that was important to her. We believe education is something you can give to someone and no one can take it away from them.
Think back on your favorite teacher. Think of how important their knowledge, patience, and care was to you. Inside and outside the classroom, these teachers are the fabric of a strong community. They build up tomorrow's leaders, help their colleagues, and innovate to educate. Once again this year, to celebrate Marjorie's birthday, leaders of the Barancik Foundation and our school district surprised 5 teachers with the semi-annual Ripple Effect Award.
I don't know what else to say.
It's a milestone, I guess, in my career today to be given this reward. Thank you very much.
Margie once said, we can't change the world, but we can change little pieces of it and hope for a ripple effect.
This award comes with $5,000 for the winning teacher to spend on professional development or materials needed for their classroom. Once again, congratulations to this year's recipients.
As you can see, Chuck and Margie's legacy lives on in classrooms and throughout our county each and every day, thanks to the extraordinary efforts, passion, and unwavering dedication of our incredible teachers. Our partnership with the Charles and Marjorie Barancik Foundation is one that we are deeply grateful for, and the impact that they are having on our students, our families, our staff, and our community is undeniable. We are so grateful for that partnership and for their generosity. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you. Superintendent's report.
Yes, Madam Chair, thank you very much. Just want to also thank the Barancik Foundation again and Terry Hansen for all they do for our teachers and our students in our schools. Thank you very much for that. Just a few other things. This week is National School Bus Safety Week, so we encourage all families and students to review their school-specific bus rules and procedures. And families, please consider going over the general school bus safety tips as well, such as boarding and exiting the bus, following the bus driver's rules, and how students can help keep the bus calm and quiet. We really appreciate that. Our bus drivers do a fantastic job, and we have a wonderful bus fleet that takes many students to school every single day and takes them home safely. So thank you to our bus drivers. Quick reminder, all school meals are still free for all students this school year. But one thing we do want you to know is that even though meals are free this year, it's still important to complete the free and reduced lunch meal application if your family is eligible. This ensures that our schools can continue to receive the funding after the USDA free meals program ends. If we don't have that paperwork and those applications, then we do not receive the funding to continue our wonderful meals at our schools. More information can be found on our website regarding that. Outstanding Educator Award, Pine View's Roberto Lamela was recognized by the University of Chicago as an outstanding educator. So we'd like to say congratulations to him. This distinguished award has existed for more than 3 decades. Students accepted into the University of Chicago class of 2025 were asked to nominate an educator, and they nominated, and Pine View student nominated Roberto. So congratulations to Roberto at Pine View. And then October is National Principals Month, and I just want to say thank you to all of our principals for all that they do on a daily basis. They are dedicated and passionate about their schools, their students, and their families, and we just really thank them for their leadership, and especially during this month of October, National Principals Month. With that, I'd like to turn over to Executive Director of Elementary Education, Dr. Brandon Johnson, to continue the presentation.
Good afternoon. First and foremost, Board Chair, School Board members, Superintendent Asplin, Mr. DeLeo, and Mrs. Clayton. Thanks for being here today. I'm from Northport High School, but Sarasota High School, I truly understand. My wife graduated from there, so I have a lot of respect for that. As Dr. Asplin just talked about, we actually had the opportunity to select the Principal of the Year for Sarasota County. And just a little backstory, I truly need you to understand how difficult it is to surprise someone. It's a lot of work that goes into it, a lot of moving parts, and at the end of the day, when you're about to get it done, chances are something happens and it never works out. Well, case in point, Dr. Asplin, who had one job, was to keep our Principal of the Year in the office. And as we were hiding in the media center, we heard this noise. And who was it? Dr. Asplin, the Principal of the Year, talking. So we went and hid in a closet just to make sure that we weren't caught. But in the end, as you'll see in this video, we were able to pull it off. Thank you, sir. We were able to pull it off. And I think it turned out pretty well. So take a second to look.
No, Amy, you are our Principal of the Year.
Well, thank you. What an incredible surprise. Wow, I think this award could go to every single person that is serving as a principal right now. It is a complete honor to serve as the principal of this school. I work with an incredible group of people, so thank you for this. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your leadership and your passion and dedication to all of your students and your families and to your colleagues as well. So we really appreciate all that you do, so congratulations.
What an amazing representation of the incredible leadership we have in our county, not just here in Garden, but across all of our schools. But Amy is amazing. Do me a favor, give her another big round of applause. She is amazing.
So as you heard in the video, I would like to welcome our Principal of the Year for Sarasota County, Garden Elementary's own Amy Archer.
So the Asplin on the move lives on even during surprises, right? Well, thank you. It truly is an honor to represent Sarasota County Schools as the Principal of the Year. I am humbled and honored by this recognition. I first joined Sarasota County School District 30 years ago as a sophomore at Venice High School. So go Indians. My career in Sarasota County has been an incredible journey, and that is thanks to the support and the opportunities that I have received from my family, my teachers, district leaders, mentors, staff, students, community members, and my colleagues. I am very grateful for this recognition and am proud to represent Garden Elementary School and Sarasota County as the Principal of the Year. Thank you very much.
And
That concludes.
yes, Dr. Asplin?
I'm finished, thank you.
You know, something I should have mentioned to you, I was going to ask you, and that is, you know, we are always having these COVID updates before when we had all those. I might put you on the spot, but the COVID numbers, because there was some concern that after we were going to be taking off the masks and we were going to have quarantined students who would have been quarantined being able to come back into the classroom, have those numbers exploded in these past few weeks. And I know I've looked at the numbers. Have you?
I haven't looked at the numbers, but maybe you can tell us. I don't think it exploded or anything like that. So do you have them?
They have been
2%?
in the single digits for over a week on the daily numbers. Last week, we had a total of 27. I mean, we had days where we had, last Friday, for instance, 1 elementary student, 1 middle school student, and 2 high school students. And that seems to be now Monday, I think, because of the weekend, we had 6, 2 elementary, 2 middle, and 2 high school. But as long as we can stay in those single digits, I am definitely a happy camper, and I think that's some news that we need to share with our members and our parents, that those numbers are staying down, because many of us were concerned. But as long as we can keep it to single digits, I'm happy, and I know all of our parents and our staff are happy too. And that's what you wanted to say, right?
Yes.
We are now at hearing of citizens. So welcome to today's board meeting. The purpose of the meeting is for the board to conduct school board business. The meeting is open to the public. As such, members of the public will be given a reasonable opportunity to be heard about school board business, including topics on the agenda. Citizens wishing to speak have already filled out the speaker's card. And prior to speaking, when we call you up, please state your name into the microphone for the records, so that we can set a good example as possible for the district's impressionable students. We respectfully request that you address the board and one another in a civil and courteous manner. Each speaker will be afforded 3 minutes to speak. No speaker may yield his or her time to another speaker. When your time has expired, we ask that you promptly exit the podium area so that we can call the next speaker. After you exit, you are permitted to return to the board through the back, and so we can officially conduct school board business in an orderly fashion. A few rules apply. First, speakers addressing the board shall refrain from remarks which are irrelevant to the business of the school board. Second, speakers addressing the board or one another are prohibited from making remarks that are abusive, threatening, defamatory, obscene, profane, or otherwise disorderly. We value everyone's viewpoint, and we ask that during this meeting you act in a manner that equally permits other speakers to espouse their views, whether you agree or disagree, during their allotted time to speak. We also ask that you refrain from any actions or utterances that chill another person's ability to address the board with their own concerns during their allotted time. Members of the public are not permitted to broadcast any audio or video recordings or have flags, banners, placards at the board meeting. And note that Florida law prohibits anyone from knowingly disrupting or interfering with the meeting. And this includes individuals who advise, counsel, or instruct others to do so. We look forward to hearing your views in conformance with these rules, and they are intended to facilitate the efficient execution of board business. The failure to follow may result in your removal from the meeting and could result in prosecution. So the first one up is Jennifer Cottrell.
Good evening. Is it working? Good evening. My name is Jennifer Cottrell. As many of you know, I'm a parent of an ESC student that attends Riverview High School. I've been coming to these meetings since early June with the hopes of getting someone to listen and actually care about the education we are providing, or in this case, lack thereof. This journey has been an eye-opener. Many people told me from the beginning that I wouldn't get anywhere with this and that people would make promises to me to shut me up and make me go away. You know what, folks? You're right. I got a lot of lip service with no real action. I get the story. It takes time. We can't do anything right away. It takes time. Things like this can't change overnight. Really? Because I live in the real world, and we deal with change all the time, and change can happen quickly if we have the desire and the right people. I think the key is having the right people. But I'll let you all figure that out and what is key, because God forbid you listen to a parent that eats, sleeps, breathes this on a daily basis for the past 10 years. On that note, let's discuss the Equal Education Opportunity Act of 1974, which is a federal law, by the way, that prohibits discrimination against faculty, staff, and students. It declares that all children enrolled in public schools are entitled to equal education opportunities without regard to ethnicity, nationality, age, gender, race, economic condition, disability, and religion. Our school district seems to think that we are above the law and that we don't need to follow this. They would rather spend time and money to fight parents in court than to simply follow the law and educate our children. Meanwhile, our children are falling further and further behind. So I'm not asking for anything special from you. I'm asking you to follow the law and provide our children with an equal education. So here's a suggestion. Effective immediately, we remove all IB classes and programs, put them all in general classes just like the rest of the students. Why does little Susie and her teachers get the perks and benefits while little Johnny and his teachers get the bottom of the barrel? Level the playing field. You don't do for one if you don't do for all. What makes these students and staff more important? Riverview High School has 2,400 students. 846 of those students are IB. Why is so much focus put on 35% of that school's population? I know the IB parents and teachers are going to hate me for this, but they need to understand that our children deserve the same educational opportunities. There are no programs or classes to prepare our ESC kids for the future. Their intensive reading and math classes take up their electives, and what they're left with in most cases are art and PE classes. How do you prepare them for the future outside of high school? These kids are smart. They just learn differently, but they are very capable students, and they deserve to have classes that can move them into life after high school. We have gaps, and we need to fill them. It needs to be filled today, not tomorrow. Do we start filing discrimination suits in order to get your attention? Waste more money trying to settle lawsuits when we can put the money to educating our children? You tell me what route you want to go. You want to go work on educating our children, and we start working with attorneys? Are we ready to finally roll up our sleeves and work towards educating our children, or do we want to hide behind our attorneys and our ESAE folks in the hopes that they can get us out of the legal mess? Remember your quote, working for one for the success of all. And when I say all, that means all students, all teachers. Thank you.
Next, we have Barbara Vaughn.
Good afternoon. My name is Barbara Vaughn. And I noticed for every time I've been to this school board meeting that we never opened with prayer. And that bothers me because I don't know of a group more in need of prayer than the school board.
Excuse me.
So, Father God,
Excuse me, Ms. Vaughn, may I request something of you?
Are you taking up my time, Ms. Brown?
No, we are going to start your time all over again, Ms. Vaughn. I just wanted to share with you, I was raised Wisconsin Synod Lutheran, and Wisconsin Synod Lutheran, we do not pray in public. We pray
okay,
at our
that's you,
church.
and it has nothing to do with what I'm saying. This is my 3 minutes. I think you had more than 3 minutes to begin this meeting. We can discuss why you've chosen not to start the meeting with a prayer some other time, on your time. Okay, now can my time start again, please?
I was only asking you a favor as a courtesy to those who do not pray in public, because they even said we can't be in Boy Scouts, our children, because they take that oath to God.
I am about to pray in public. If you don't
and
want
let me
to,
explain
that's
to
up
you that if you are going to pray, I am going to respectfully step up out of the room, not out of what you're saying, but out of my beliefs. Please start her time over again.
Father God, you've just heard evidence once again of how badly some people in this room need your blessing, need your guidance, need your care. Lord, we pray not only for the board members in this meeting, but for the parents and for the concerned citizens who've taken their time to come here. I pray, Lord, that you would be with each of the parents and the children they represent. and the citizens who come representing all the children. Lord, we know that you love the little children, and you know that you want them to come to you. Lord, these children need an education. They don't need to be caught up in political wrangling or fights between school boards and governors and national groups like the National School Board Association. Lord, keep those groups out of our Sarasota County schools. They have nothing to do with us. We know how, the parents and the citizens in this county, to raise our children and to see them properly educated. Lord, we lobby and speak on behalf of our children to protect them from radical agendas that have permeated our school system. We beg you to protect our children from these radical agendas like gender confusion, like graphic sexual materials in our classrooms and libraries, and promoting false racial teachings. Lord, those things have no place in our children's lives, never mind in their schoolrooms or in their school libraries, and they don't need to be hearing these kinds of radical ideas from their teachers or their principals. Lord, I ask you, I beseech you, to be with the leaders, the administrators in our school system, and be with the parents who come to school board meetings all over this country with no more radical idea in mind than to protect their children. Lord, we are not domestic terrorists. We are not terrorists of any kind. We are parents and we are concerned citizens. We are grandparents and aunts and uncles. And we want our children protected from the evil in this world, not have it spread to them through the classroom. Lord, we thank you for hearing our prayer. And in your name we pray. In the name of the Father of us all. Amen.
You back?
Melissa Radovich. Melissa Radovich Donington. No, I'm sorry, Donington is the address. Melissa Radovich.
Hello. It's hard to follow that. That was amazing. Last week, local community members met with Dr. Asplin to question why you proclaimed October LGBTQ month and what that means. Dr. Asplin didn't have an answer and said he would ask the school board to reach out to us sometime. You may think these proclamations promote unity, but in actuality, they do the opposite. Social agendas have no place in schools, and they are not part of an approved curriculum. If we could get back to reading, writing, math, history, science, that would be great. I had to withdraw my son from first grade at Ashton recently, partly due to the fact that he was being taught about homosexuality in first grade. He came home completely confused. His teacher's response was, "I do not recall," and the principal didn't even bother to offer a call back to me before he was withdrawn. Charter school enrollment is on the rise, and many of my friends have recently opted for homeschooling. You are drastically affecting Sarasota County resident lives, and that is the reason why a group of parents decided to peacefully gather outside your house, Ms. Brown. I do not apologize for going to your home. Our group of parents, we do not apologize. In my opinion, it should have been done a long time ago. And on this topic, I do not believe the parents who were peacefully and legally protesting should be arrested or called names, which I can't even repeat around my children. There's no other way to have our voices heard, in my opinion. Speaking at the school board meetings does not result in action, and you already have your votes decided. Secondly, I want to address why Dr. Godfrey has been chosen to, quote, meet with staff, parents, and students in an effort to provide social, emotional, behavioral interventions in public schools for a monthly amount not to exceed $40,000 per month for mental health hygiene. After researching the tag Training a Generation company, I found multiple pictures of him supporting BLM, which I have to say is not my issue with his organization. I believe that all lives matter, but we can differ on that discussion. My concern is that I don't see any noteworthy experience in working with schools towards a goal that I could back. In my research on TAG, I found 3 different website links, all of which were broken, 2 of which seemed to be about fitness and athletics. Also, his LinkedIn profile only shows 5 years of experience as the TAG movement CEO. There's no prior other work experience. That's a little odd. I'd like to know how this organization was selected for involvement within our schools. Also, TAG Movement Consulting on the Florida Division of Corporations website is spelled incorrectly with an A, and the company is inactive, so I don't know how payments are made to an inactive company, but you may want to look into that. In closing, we will continue to be active in our community.
Thank you. Your time is up. Michelle Posey.
Michelle Posey, District 3. Here is a short list of organizations in Sarasota County that were not named as threats last meeting. The Democratic Party, the Republican Party, AlsoYouth.org, Minnesota Mamas for Change, Black Lives Matter, Sarasota Manatee, the Party for Socialism and Liberation, just to name a few. We might disagree on some things as a community, but what in God's name offends you about Moms for Liberty? The fact that they're moms, or the fact that they realize their liberty is not a bargaining chip that you can cash in? Battling moms and liberty in a county like Sarasota that bleeds red, white, and blue. Best of luck with that attitude in 2022 and 2024. In researching the social emotional learning cell for today, I came across a speech by Gloria Ladson Billings. Her paper, entitled Towards Critical Race Theory, became a catalyst for ways to engage our educational system to level the uneven playing field left behind by racism and inequality, all of which we can agree have plagued mankind since the beginning of time. In her speech, however, she stated, "I was a critical race theorist before the election and I remain one after it." Why do I bring her up? Because my Father God instructs me that you will know them by their fruit. Fruit produces seed after its own kind, right? Well, what if I told you the mother organization for CEL, known as CASEL, the Collaborative for Academic, Social, and Emotional Learning, refers to Ms. Billings as a catalyst for the CEL program in many states. What's troubling behind anything with CEL is that you can no longer trust exactly where this program's roots are planted, and you should question everything about it, what it threatens to produce. Social emotional learning, while harmless on the outside, is described by CASEL as evolving. What does evolving mean? Well, I dug a little further, and they refer to something called transformative CEL. Transformative CEL applies the CEL framework to create settings and systems promoting justice-oriented schools and civic engagements. Wait a minute, I thought we were talking about the mental well-being of our students. Transformative CEL has 3 parts that work together: practitioners, aka the health industry, policymakers, aka politicians, and researchers, which is basically experiments. They work off of research-practice partnerships. That means somebody researches something, a teacher puts it into practice, we decide if it worked, and if not, we go back to the drawing board. Why are we openly accepting a form of learning that they describe as educational research? Why does the CASEL website repeatedly mention the need for strong adult-student relationships? Do they not realize we already have those? They're called parents. Parents, you need to be aware that you can opt out of this if the board decides to go forward with it. Furthermore, I want to know how these third-party vendors are implemented, and I would like to also know how that selection process is made.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Martin Hyde.
There you go. Good afternoon. My name's Martin Hyde. I remain a concerned parent of a child in a woke school system. When I send my kid to a soccer school, I expect them to teach him how to kick a soccer ball, not how to crochet a bandana. If I send my kid to piano lessons, I don't expect his piano teacher to teach him how to paint. If I send my boy to Sunday school, I expect him to learn about Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. Similarly, when I send my son to a public school, I expect him to be educated in matters of fact and not in matters of opinion. One of the unexpected outcomes of the pandemic is that many parents like me saw firsthand exactly what our kids are being taught. And it would have made my hair curl if I had enough to curl. Takes me to my point today, though, which is that in Florida, the money follows the student, not the school system. In the same way as I wouldn't keep sending my kid to a program that I'm paying for that isn't doing what I want, neither should we do so with our tax dollars. Just like child support belongs to the kid, morally, tax dollars for education belongs to the kids too. Our governor was in Sarasota last Friday, actually shouted out Bridget Ziegler, said we need more of them, and we do, and more Karen Roses as well. He made it clear that parents and students determine education, not woke school boards. For those that want their kids to be woke, the Sarasota public school system, as run by the current board and current administration, is absolutely perfect. For those parents who want their kids to be awake, as opposed to woke, we have but just two choices. Remove the woke from the school board next August and replace them with parental right advocates, or take your kids to schools outside of the school board's control for which the state will pay. There is no third choice unless you want your kid to become third rate. In closing, I'd just like to say, let's go Brandon.
Thank you, James Howell.
My name is James Hewell, and I'm a parent, businessman, and resident of Sarasota County. I'm here today in opposition for two items that you've had, and I am supportive of one. The first one in opposition is making declarations in support of sexual preferences. What exactly was the purpose of declaring October LGBTQ month? Why would you, as educators, want to venerate a small group of society over all others based on sexual preference? This degeneracy has no place in our public school system. The second, myself and many other parents are also in opposition to contracting with a company such as Tag Movement, M-O-V-E-M-E-A-N-T. I'm assuming that was done on purpose, with the stated goal of intervening with our children to, quote, move people from one mindset to another, to, quote, train a generational mindset. This begs the question, change the mindset from what to what? And how do I, as the parent, know that the mindset they are moving my young adult to align with aligns with my principles and morals, which are natural and moral law, because that is what I teach my young adult. Once again, you as the school members the school board are operating outside of your lanes. Neither of these items has a place in our education system. This is flat out indoctrination, not education. But let me offer up an alternative. Instead of segregating our children by one's skin color or by their sexual preferences or manipulating their mindsets, why not venerate and promote the coming together as humans? Let's promote humanity itself, being united in a common cause to live in a world of freedom and liberty for all, no matter what your sexual orientation or your color. Let's return to a curriculum in the classical sense of educating, meaning the trivia method, which is the elementary three. I'm not sure if any of you even understand what that is. The first is general grammar, which answers who, what, where, and when. This is known as knowledge. The second is formal logic, which answers the why. This is called understanding. And then number 3 is classical rhetoric, which provides the how to apply the knowledge and the understanding, which then comprises wisdom, putting it into effect into your daily life. This is the education that all children, no matter the color or status, deserve. This is the knowledge that free people should have. If we follow this path of educating our children from birth, imagine that. If we follow it from birth and these universal laws, we will see that most all societal
Let's go, Brendan. Let's go, Brendan. Your time is up, sir. Sir, your time is up. Let's go, Brendan. Let's go, Brendan. Brian Gibbs.
My name is Brian Gibbs. I'm a Christian. I am a Sarasota resident of 17 years. I'm a local pastor in our community. I'm a defender of the innocent and precious children of our city and of our county, and I'm not here to be politically correct. We are not to become a culture of immoral accommodation. Sarasota, Florida is our beloved city, and I am boldly declaring today that we will never become a stronghold for the LGBTQ community. This sexual filth and perversion will not become our new normal. I refuse and I stand opposed to you, to this board, with your agenda and your abomination to introduce and to bring perversion to our children, and your sexual insanity of introducing LGBTQ History Month. I am disgusted. Yes, I am beyond grieved that our educational board thinks that they could be so flamboyant to do this to our kids. You feel empowered right now and emboldened by our city council, who placed rainbow flags throughout our downtown streets. They made our streets painted with rainbows. Now they're indoctrinating our schools. You lit up our Sarasota bridge. All of this is wrong. These decisions are way beyond foolish. They are pitiful. Keep your perversion out of education. This board thinks that they're being courageous, they think they're being heroic, yet all the while they're bowing down to a destructive and wicked agenda that is poisoning so many lives, and it seeks to destroy our innocent children. I stand opposed to this agenda. I will fight you every bit of the way for the soul of our city and our community, and I will fight for our kids. As a Christian, as a pastor, as a shepherd, my commitment is to honor God and His holy word. I want to say very plainly today, stop. Stop trying to force this community to celebrate gays, lesbians, queers, transsexuals. Let me say it plain. Stop it. It is gross. It is not strengthening our society. It is destroying it. And God is not an indifferent bystander. We are going to make sure that your queer agenda and your seat of authority is ripped out from underneath of you. And we're also going to make sure that we raise up leaders to protect and defend the purity and the hearts of our children in this community. True fathers and mothers will be raised up in this city and in this county, and they will replace you with God-given authority. Mark it down. Mark it down today. We're going to win. You're going to lose, and you're going to lose big.
Thank you. Bren Gibbs? Bren Gibbs? Sir, your time is up. Thank you. Bren Gibbs? Please remain order in the thank you.
I am also here to speak on behalf of the the Declaration of October 2021 being LGBTQ History Month. My question is, what are you thinking? This is what you are choosing to promote and teach our children about? A sexual preference? You are wanting to teach children as young as 5 years old about sexual preferences. All of the things that you could be focusing on for our children in this hour, you are choosing to focus on people with a specific sexual preference. You have wavered far from your purpose here. What is next? Child Abusers History Month? Rape History Month? Incest History Month? Sexual Offenders History Month? Because you could find people who have contributed in some way to society that are in these sexual categories as well. We could look to the movie stars and producers, government officials, scientists, comedians, poets, entrepreneurs, even teachers and professors under these categories as well. You know full well many parents do not promote this lifestyle and teach their children the negative consequences of this lifestyle. But you are trying to teach them the exact opposite of what their parents are teaching them at home. Who made you the moral law of the land? Who made you God? What I am talking about is a moral issue, not a civil rights issue. You disqualify yourself on moral issues when you take God out of the equation. Christianity, Judaism, and the Muslim faith all believe that the LGBTQ lifestyle is immoral. Our Constitution says we were given rights to stand for by God. God is the standard for our rights, and God is the standard for our morals. You are after getting children to believe that the LGBTQ lifestyle is not wrong, that people are good, that they have done good in the community. Every person can do good and contribute in some way to our society. That's not the issue. But something in their life can still be very wrong and unacceptable. You are trying to teach the children to embrace every kind of difference in action in people, even ones that oppose their good, loving, responsible parents, what they're teaching them, and even what their God says to them. Parents are trying to teach their kids to judge others not by the color of skin, gender, or nationality, but by a person's character, to be wise about who you get close to and let influence you. They're trying to teach them that you can respect somebody and yet believe that their behavior is toxic to them at the same time.
Thank you. Lois Wilkins. Please no clapping. We need to be able to hear. Lois Wilkins.
Good afternoon. I am Lois Wilkins, Chair of the African American Cultural Resource Center, the AACRC, at the Betty J. Johnson North Sarasota Library. We work to expand and extend knowledge and appreciation of all facets of African American culture. Recently, parents of the 5th grade Sarasota school students received a letter from the elementary curriculum department informing them that a passage in the vocabulary exercise was removed. It contained content that may be controversial and conflict with Florida's Department of Education standards requirements. The requirements refer to the department's ban of the teaching of critical race theory. The censored vocabulary exercise mentioned a Black Lives Matter protest, unquote, and, quote, racist systems that harm Black people, quote. The substituted exercise recalls a 1960s era civil rights protest, including 2 phrases. Quote, to raise our voices in dissent against the discrimination we experience, unquote, and, quote, we were protesting the many ways these unjust laws constrained our lives, end of quote. As chair of the African American Cultural Resource Center, I'd like to receive a copy of the guidelines used to make this decision. More specifically, those used phrases to ban the references to Black Lives Matter and racist systems. I am raising concerns to the Curriculum Department's action step and would like to be a community member voice, which is included in the Curriculum Review Committee's makeup. My main concern, among others, we do not believe the original language is an example of critical race theory, and we think the ban is ill-conceived with racial overtones. I'd like to be included at these discussion tables. I will leave my contact information for future references. Thank you.
Thank you. I've noted your request. David Wilkins.
Good afternoon. My name is David Wilkins, and I'm the president of the Minnesota branch of ASALA. I want to address the Florida Department of Education's rule that banned the teaching of critical race theory, a ban which was unnecessary since this theory is not being taught in our schools, and a ban which will prove impossible to enforce. The amended rule requires instruction to be factual and objective, and that it not suppress or distort significant historical events. It provides two examples of theories that distort: Holocaust denial and critical race theory. The rule defines critical race theory as the theory that racism is not merely the product of prejudice, but it is embedded in American society and its legal systems in order to uphold the supremacy of white people. Instruction, according to the rule, must utilize the Declaration of Independence in the Constitution and its amendments as key source materials. Let's examine the Constitution in a couple of examples. So Article 1, Section 2 called for the purposes, counted for the purposes of representation, each free person as a whole person, and enslaved persons as 3/5, the so-called 3/5 clause. Article 1, Section 9 extended the African slave trade for an additional 20 years following the signing of the Constitution. Article 4, Section 2 required states to return escaped enslaved persons to their owners. These three provisions are factual and objective, were not merely the product of prejudice, but were embedded in our Constitution and enacted to uphold the enslavement of Africans for the benefit of white people. According to the drafters of the amended rule, this is critical race theory. They're wrong. It is the U.S. Constitution. Thank you.
Thank you. Jason Brunt.
Perfect timing. I'm actually here to support bringing Javier Gottfried into the lives of our local children. The more I've researched him and his company, Tag Movement Consulting, and their positions on many topics about equity and how they only promote people of color, the more I come to realize that maybe this is the right direction that we should move in. I mean, clearly, the only way to eliminate racism and promote equality is to discriminate against a specific group of people. That seems to make sense to me. I mean, how didn't I see this? It's kind of blatantly obvious, isn't it? We need to have someone who holds racist values to teach equity because they truly understand discrimination, right? See, so up until recently, my obvious privilege kept me blind to the fact that, yes, indeed, all straight white people are bad. I'm so thankful I was able to read some of Mr. Godfrey's blog and social media posts before they were deleted to help me get a better understanding of the subject. And talk about perfect timing, too. As Hollywood starts beginning to make important changes, like making the new 007 a black woman, Wolverine a Hispanic girl, Captain America a black man, and the new Superman bisexual, I personally think there's no better time to teach our children that straight whiteness is a terrible thing than right now. And the only way to truly reach equality, is to discriminate against people, right? Mr. Godfrey is truly a master of words in history. Did you know while he supports BLM and CRT, he never once brings up any divisive topics like how Democrats founded the KKK, or how their first Grand Master was Nathan Bedford Forrest, a prominent Democrat. They also like to leave out how the Republican Party was created to stop slavery and how President Lincoln himself was the one that signed the Emancipation Proclamation that freed the slaves. Imagine how divisive it would be if people actually found out that not a single Republican owned a slave. Well, except for Ulysses T. Grant, but he was gifted one by the name of William Jones, and he freed him immediately. That would divide the ruling party now, wouldn't it? That would be very divisive. As someone who traditionally votes Democrat, as Mr. Godfrey does, he understands what would cause division. And he really tries to stick with the simple subjects that unite us all, like straight conservative men are bad, and much more worse if they're white. And boys, can beat the dirt out of girls in competitive sports just as long as they say that they're girls, right? Think about it. If we didn't have heroes like this promoting equity, people like Fallon Fox, an MMA fighter and former man in the Army Special Forces, wouldn't be able to beat up legally women for money. It just brings a tear to my eye, the amount of equity that's involved in that, isn't it? And Unity Day, I thought that was great. We have a whole board of Caucasian pro-LGBT people with no people of color. That really makes me feel like we're focusing on general unity, doesn't it? So in closing, I don't think that $40,000 a month is enough.
Eileen Green.
Good afternoon. I am not a parent. I am an American citizen, and I'm a taxpayer, and I'm not satisfied with how our money is being spent in the school system. In just 16 months ago, the CDC became the fourth branch of the government. The Capitol Police became a national intelligence agency. OSHA went from a regulatory agency to a force stronger than the Constitution, and the school board became an indoctrination center. The strong arm of the school board is the FBI. They're teaching children that they are living in an evil country using every opportunity, like CRT, to divide people by race, religion, and class. You teach children that there is no God by taking prayer out of our schools. You politicize science to reaffirm the socialist mindset. Sex education should have no place in our schools. You are not teaching biology, you are teaching perverted sex education. If a boy does not know that he is a boy and a girl does not know that she's a girl, it is the responsibility of the parent and not the school on how to deal with it. Children do not belong to the government, they belong to their parents. Genesis 1:27, so God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him, male and female. He created them. There should be video cameras in every classroom. If you have a problem with that, then you have a problem if you're hiding something. Trusting your child with a stranger is totally irresponsible. Mark 9:42, whoever causes one of these little ones who believe in me to sin, it would be better for him to get to, if a great millstone was hung around his neck and he was thrown into the sea. Because I stand for God and my country and America, I am labeled a domestic terrorist. Then I am proud to be one, if that's what I'm labeled. God bless America. I am a law-abiding citizen who loves my country and loves God. God bless America, and go Brandon.
Thank you. Jeffrey Scott.
Good afternoon, Sarasota County School Board. My name is Jeffrey Scott. I would like to talk about public comment as you approached it during your workshop. And I entitled this, Why Public Comments Matter. Public commenting at today's school board meeting is an opportunity to make your voice heard. It's essential for me to provide public input on a workshop item. I understand this is your regular meeting, because the rules and regulations of that item, public participation at meetings, must be applied in a fair and equitable manner to those of us who give public comment. I believe public comment can act as a resource and actually create a record that can be used for future consideration, or in an effort to challenge the content of any harmful rules that could discriminate against us commenters who strongly support public participation at school board meetings. I simply want to make sure this particular agenda item, workshop item, has met all legal requirements and has not overlooked any facts, unintended consequences, or errors. I believe in ethical leadership, especially when it involves rules and regulations I must abide by when I give public comment. It is apparent that the challenges we face in the present will be a continuation of the challenges we face in the future. I encourage the Sarasota County School Board to not lose sight of your mission statement. Even if my public comment falls on deaf ears, it is still relevant for future reference and for the public record moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Alexis Spiegelman.
Good afternoon. My name is Alexis Spiegelman, Moms for Liberty, Sarasota County Chapter Chair. We have a daughter in the district that goes to school in the district. I believe the dialogue that took place in the workshop this morning demonstrated a larger issue that I believe is driving the increased volume of citizens who wish to address the board. Ms. Brown mentioned several times that the purpose of the meeting is to conduct the business of the board, and that the board is responsible for creating policy, and the superintendent is responsible for executing that policy. My question is, who is that the board is creating the policy for? If not for the public who they are supposed to serve? Who is informing the policy that you are creating, if not the citizens of Sarasota County that you were elected to represent? Lately, it seems like only unelected organizations like the teachers' unions, CDC, NIH, the FSBA, and the other organizations. You work for the public, which is why it strikes me as strange that you would consider public feedback an interruption and not part of the business of the board. We have a representative form of government. Therefore, in order to carry out your responsibility in a competent way, policy decisions would need to be informed by the community stakeholders that you represent. Your purpose is to carry out our business, our wishes, our agenda, not yours. Disparaging those members of the public that don't have kids is confusing. Are taxes only collected by Sarasota County residents that have students in our schools? We are here because we have a problem with the policies on your agenda. As others have already articulated, equally so, we are here because of what is missing from our school district's agenda. Number one, academics. So we had a third grade reading level, which the third grade reading level, it indicates how well a student will perform for the rest of their academic career. Third grade test scores in Sarasota took a dip. They were only 66% of third graders scored a standard at reading at grade level or above. Sarasota's test scores were down 4% percentage points from 2019. Sarasota ranked 5th in the state, coming behind St. John's. They used to be like number 3, I believe. That's why we bought our house here. 3rd grade reading scores are considered the key indicator of a student's future success. You know what else is missing from the school board agenda? Transparency. What is the equity committee up to, and why are they excluding the ESC children whose parents keep coming to every meeting begging the district for help? And the sole purpose of your existence is to educate, not indoctrinate. We would really appreciate if we could get to helping our kids perform in the academic world and stop pushing these social agendas. They're dividing our community. We are all here at 3 o'clock in the middle of the day to help you. We want to work with you, and we will do the work. We want you to invite us in and stop closing the parents out. Give us more transparency. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I believe this is Sandy Sastry.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity. I'm going to be speaking extemporary.
Could you repeat your name, sir?
Yeah, my name is Sandeep Sastry, S-A-N-D as in David, E-E-P as in Peter. My Indian accent, I guess, I came from California, and New York, it was able to modulate. But in Florida, I guess people follow my name. Not many Indians live here. Any case, I'm here today because we moved in May. We came here last December, spent some time, in Sarasota speaking to parents, and we have a special needs child, and I want to talk about ESC. We did our research, and we found that Sarasota ESC, the school district is good. We spoke to a few parents. But one of the things which I want to bring up is for the last, it's only when you come here, because I was fighting the California Bay Area school. I'm in high tech, and I was fighting the school board of having out-of-court settlements for 3 years for getting rights to be included. Here, I come here for the last 2-3 months. I see a shortage of ESC teachers, and that is not helping my kid. I'm addressing this issue with the management, but I would like to see there are so many job listings available on ESC. What is the board doing to support the special ed community, the parents like us? I moved 3,000 miles, and I'm little feeling awkward that, hey, did I make the right decision? And I've already invested property in Southside, so otherwise the people have been very welcoming. Everybody's been very good, people all over the beach. Everything has been good, but I see the shortage of ESC teachers is detrimental for special needs kids, and there are a lot of people who are being impacted about this. I'm meeting tomorrow, I'm meeting with the concerned people, but I just hope that something is taken care of, and people know that this is an issue, and we special needs parents, not everybody speaks up, because people don't trust our children, because not everybody believes in our children. I don't want to have the regret that I didn't give my kids the best. And the last thing I want is to go tell my kid, no, the school board didn't do that. Today, for example, I came late because my kid was sent when she had normal temperature. She was sent home, and I went to to have a COVID test immediately. She didn't have any temperature. She had 97 degrees temperature. And last week she was out full in the class for, she was out at home because she was she was not feeling well. And today there is a complaint that she has temperature. I've not been given what the temperature is and just been sent and not to come back tomorrow home. So there are some things which are going on which I feel that I have to speak up. Thank you for giving me the time, and thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Geraldine, I'm sorry, Alarger? We'll repeat when you get there.
My name is Jerry Morgan, and this is like my 3rd meeting, and I intended to just listen and learn the lay of the land here. I appreciate the opportunity to fill out a card and to be heard at this time. I implore all of you on the board and Superintendent Asplin, I don't really know what role the attorney plays, but you as well. I implore you to think about the leadership you are providing or not in this meeting. So I see when the last speaker spoke, he had all of your attention. He had all of your attention across the board. It doesn't matter if you're blue, red, white, whatever color, he had your attention. Now, I've sat in these meetings. My history is only 3 meetings. I am a very grateful parent. My daughter went to Montessori, then she went to public school, nationally ranked public school in Pennsylvania. She came here. I learned about the MASS program, the ACE program. I am so grateful to the excellent teachers at Sarasota High. They are equal, if not, excel, some of the teachers at TE School District in Pennsylvania, which is nationally ranked. So I am here as a grateful parent. I am here as a responsible citizen. I am here also as a psychotherapist, so I know something about social emotional learning. And I'm also here, I've attended Quaker meetings for years. My daughter's been raised as a Quaker. And I am technically a Quaker. I consider myself more of a spiritual, open person. And I believe that there's that of God in all of us. It's just incredible the way people speak in this meeting. I would implore you, Dr. Asplin, to reflect upon a student would be suspended from school if they spoke like parents in this meeting speak. So I implore you to look at the leadership that each of you are providing. This is not healthy discourse. This is not respectful communication. And I can't imagine my daughter being exposed to this. I would not bring my 18-year-old daughter to this meeting. I would be embarrassed that the adults, except that I guess we could talk afterwards about how respectful discourse takes place. So I just implore you, I really trust that you are well-meaning, but to think about bringing in additional resources to help you bring out the best in all of us. Each person here, I believe, cares about their kids.
Thank you. That is the end of our hearing of citizens. Are there any changes or corrections to the agenda? Oh, I'm sorry. Bridget Ziegler wanted to speak.
Oh, no, it was about the next motion, that there will be a correction.
Okay, well, we'll let Dr. Asplin do his, and then we'll recognize you.
Yes, Madam Chair, 2 addendums were added to item number 8, the instructional classified personnel report, and public participation policy added to the new business item number 24.
No, I think that probably should have been unfinished business, but yeah, right, new business. And Ms. Ziegler? Oh, I'm sorry, we have to have a motion on the amendments.
I move that agenda item number 11 be moved from consent to new business.
Second.
Can we have a motion on we need a motion on Dr. Asplin's first. No. We're going to do them all together, fine. So can I have a motion to accept the changes?
Madam Chair, we can't have a motion on a motion like this. We have to vote on her motion first, and then after we pull that, then we'll vote on
I'm sorry.
Motion to...
All right, so we will vote on Ms. Ziegler's motion. It's been presented and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. All right, so now we
I move for...
So did that pass 5-0, or is that a 4-1?
I think it was 5-0. I didn't hear anything else.
Make sure for the record. Okay, thank you.
Do we hear any? I move for approval of the consent agenda, the amended consent agenda is presented.
Bridget, are you asking to speak again?
No.
All right, so now
Need a second?
I got a second.
So now we were voting on the consent agenda.
As amended, yes.
It's not coming up.
We could take a voice vote.
Should we refresh?
I did refresh. I think we need a voice
Yeah,
vote.
voice vote.
Okay, all in favor of the consent agenda as amendment signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The consent agenda passes on a 5-0 vote. Next, new business, item 23, I believe. No, I'm sorry, item 22, the re-advertisement of the student progression plan.
Second.
Any discussion?
If I could ask Catherine Kokoza, if you could please come forward. As you know, we advertised the student progression plan for 30 days, and during that 30 days, we welcome review from the community, and we did receive some information from the community regarding English language learners, and there was information that we decided to place into the student progression plan. So since we did that, we need to run it again, advertise it again for another 30 days for review. Catherine, did you want to add anything to that?
The major change that we made to the student progression plan is the addition of our ELL flowchart for any of our students who are high school age and coming into our district. We have a process in place across all of our high schools that now ensures that students are aware of all their options.
Any questions? Please. Bridget Ziegler.
Thank you. I wanted to, thank you for the clarification. I wanted to, this has always bothered me and I brought it up before, but I think it's really important we highlight it or maybe get a better understanding. Because this is a student progression plan for 2021, 2022, and we're in October of our current year, and to the best of my knowledge, they are due August 1st. Is that, I mean, tell me if I'm wrong.
The information that has changed in the pupil progression plan has a lot to do with the legislative session and the laws that are passed and the information that we receive from the DOE that interprets those laws. So you usually don't receive those till mid-September, and then we create it and then advertise it.
Thank you, and I did know that. So it was somewhat of a rhetorical question, but there's also the component of when we, because there are items in there that are not legislatively driven. They were driven by, I mean, there were, and actually, by the way, thank you for outlining it the way you did, because it's never been done that way before. So this is not the first time it's come to us in October. But that being said is when we, especially as we move towards our strategic plan and the value that we're focused on the academic side, how do we get this to get in front of us before the school year starts?
I think
so it aligns with the strategic plan, so we're voting on something. I mean, are you following my?
Yes, I am. I guess the best way for me to answer that is, you know, starting July 1 with the legislative updates and so on and so forth, our school system actually incorporates that information into our daily processes. So I can tell you that it's happening even though you haven't seen it in the pupil progression plan. So it's in there, and unless I bring it to you twice, I could bring it earlier, but then I might have to make changes and bring it again later because of, in other words, if we want to put information in there related to the strategic plan and you wanted it in there so you could approve it by August, for instance, then we could certainly do that, but then we'd have to do it again once we get the legislative updates. And then
because
approve it
we
again
don't
in
have any
October
option
again.
on the legislative. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Sorry.
No, so just that's how it would work, but just also know that even though that we approve it in October, we are carrying out the process from August through October
Correct.
behind the scenes.
I have no doubt. But and so the ones that are legislatively driven, we have to adopt those. I mean, that has to be otherwise it's changed to Tallahassee or the federal level. But when it's ones that aren't, and like I said, there were a fair amount. And so to me, especially from the public standpoint, I mean, you think student progression plan is very important. Very important. Has a lot of really important information in there. And again, this is not the first time it's happened, but we're really refocusing on strategic planning and how we're going to put our money towards academics and be really focused. And I think student progression plan is pivotal in that area. And again, it's after the fact, but to me, it's almost like if we had a contract that somebody's already doing work for a building, but it's coming to us afterwards, right? So what's the meaning of it coming to the board members at that any day? And it undermines basically the purpose of us actually voting on it. So I would much rather see, and again, this is already moving, it's almost just what's the right word? It's almost ceremonial. I mean, it really isn't something that we're like weighing in on. And I think that is a disservice to the work that you guys do and then to what the importance of it is and how we can better. So I want to get back to, because I remember back in the day, there were times when we would get it back in August. I know, but again, Tallahassee's taking longer. I'm calling Tallahassee out. I will say that loud and proud. But I do think since there are things that we do ourselves, that there are decisions at the district level, that come before us so we can adopt that and understand and that be aligned. And I wanted to make that very clear and see how we timeline that out, since I know a lot of work goes into this. So, and if we can kind of reverse engineer it so it does come back to us in a meaningful time, so we really know what we're weighing in on and actually have some weight into the decision.
Yes, thank you. We'll certainly talk about that in cabinet and see what we can do about that.
Ms. Goodwin?
I agree. I think we should have as much as we can out before school starts, even if we have to do a revision. Perhaps this next year we'll get things earlier because we have session in January, February, and March. That may help, may not, but who knows. In any event, I would say if we can get it out there before, let's get what we've got out there and then revise it if we have to. At least a good framework and a good percentage of it. What would we think might change? What percentage? Probably 20%?
Yeah, not much.
Not much. So I would say let's try to do that by August 1st and have that for our families.
Thank you. So please vote. Item 22 passes 5-0. Item 23, the advertisement of revised school board policies to be approved as presented.
Advertised.
Ms. Goodwin?
Second, or is that a motion? Are you making a
No.
motion?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make a motion.
That's okay. I move for approval, let's see if I'm reading it right, to advertise the revised school board policy changes per legislation as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. I would hope that you would all look at these. There were several of them. I mean, how many of them? 48. Definitely over a dozen of them.
Yes.
One of them happens to be, a lot of it happens to be the Parents' Bill of Rights being inserted into the different places. There was one on Baker acting. There's one about reporting teachers or staff who are fired or quit. So there's a lot of important things in there, but a lot of it had to do with language that was changed in the legislation, and that's why we had to update those policies, and there was a whole bunch of them. So we put them all together, and those of you who like to follow those things, they are attached to the agenda, and you can look at them, and if you have any questions, please bring them to us. We discussed them briefly at the workshop this morning. Please vote. Oh. And that passes 5-0. This is to advertise. The next item, 24, Another policy on public participation. Is there a motion? Item 24.
I think it was changed, it on your sheet says 24 because of, but
Oh, it
was
is not that.
the
We
agenda 11 went
changed the
down, so
numbers.
on our,
I'm
on our
sorry.
queue, it says 20, it's okay, 23.
What number is it on,
It says
on the
23 right
system?
now.
What number is it on the system?
23.
Item 23. Okay. The public participation.
I move that the for the advertisement of policy 2.22A.
Is there a second?
Second.
For the public, this is the one that has public participation at board meetings. We had found that there was language that was on our cards that didn't match what was in our policy and that wasn't written out at all. So this was to clarify some of those things. From the time it was first published, there was a change made to 6F, where individual attacks was taken out, and that section now reads, Florida law requires all citizens to conduct themselves in an orderly fashion at public meetings. Actions such as cheering, jeering, discriminatory, unreasonably loud, abusive, or profane language or gestures are prohibited. The public attacks section was taken out because it could cause problems later on, and we felt that we would keep it closer. Also, in 6B, the language was struck that said it would be sorted by agenda item. It'll be separated by the agenda items and the general comment. And then after talking with our attorney before the meeting, he asked that we make a change on F to remove the political paraphernalia language that shall not display signs, posters, placards, flags, and he wants to remove the or political paraphernalia. Is there a motion for that? Could someone?
So moved.
The language will now read, we will delete flags or political paraphernalia and insert or flag, comma. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Oh, we needed a second.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay, I don't know if I'm clear on it. Can you rephrase that word?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Can you restate what the language should be saying? I have delete flags.
Well, we have to delete flags because we have to put the or in front of flags.
Okay.
So it'll say members of the public shall not display signs, posters, placards, or flags in the school board meeting room.
Are you keeping political? I don't even know what political.
No, the political paraphernalia is removed, and the or is put before flags.
I'm sorry. I just want to make sure I understand. If it's just flags, but I'm going to.
Well, the reason the flags had to be removed first is because we have to put the or in front of flags.
No, I understand. We're getting rid of the word flags and political paraphernalia.
And then we're putting in or flags.
I'm not understanding it. I'm sure it'll pass without me. I'm just going to say nay.
Bridget, if Ms. Ziegler, if I can just speak to that issue, I want you to understand why I recommended that we remove the words political paraphernalia. There are two broad reasons. The first is that is too vague,
well, that's what
ill-defined. It would be a problem for us because we wouldn't know it when we see it. Secondly, there is a sort of broad First Amendment protection for certain types of speech. We can prohibit time, place, manner restrictions, as long as they're content neutral, but the notion again here was that it was too broad a prohibition on First Amendment protected speech. That was the rationale.
Thank you. So if you, can you read it as it will be once this amendment is made so I'm clear? Because that's where I'm.
Again, Roman numeral 5F will read, members of the public shall not display signs, posters, placards, or flags in the school board meeting room.
Thank you. Okay, I can agree to that, so yes.
Okay.
And so anywhere that language, those two words appeared in that policy, they would be excised.
Okay, yes.
And I didn't vote. That's a yes for me.
Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
amendment.
Aye.
Aye.
On the amendment.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, and so we are now on the language as amended, unless there's any other amendments. No discussion, so go ahead and vote.
Wait, no.
Wait.
I think
We're going to have discussion? I'm sorry. See, I was watching the vote thing, I'm sorry. Ms. Rose, Karen Rose.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I will not be supporting this agenda item, changing participation of public comment. At this time, I think that it's clear that our community has been significantly divided beyond anything that I have observed in decades. That isn't the time to make change. I believe, as an individual board member, that it sends the deliberate message that this board is attempting to suppress opposition. I want to make it clear I'm not opposed to change. Change is inevitable, and this isn't the time to do so. For me, this is the time to prioritize agenda items, policies that bring this community together, first and foremost, and unite it. Thank you.
Ms. Ziegler?
Thank you. I too will not be supporting this, and I think it's interesting if I tie in the embracing our differences comments that the student had mentioned that how wonderful it was to break stereotypes and to realize that there's more in common than that we are different, and to stop putting people into buckets and labeling them and unifying, not divide. And so in my mind, as I've said before we had, we are at a time where there's a lot of concern and frustration, and whether you agree with it or not, that's where we're at. And so I know historically I have said that pre-COVID, before, it had nothing to do with public comment. It was just about how we would arrange the agenda, putting it, looking at other boards that do that similarly, and it's largely to think of staff's time and to make the meeting flow better, having agenda items at the beginning and then open to the public at the end. However, as I've mentioned before, and I to Mrs. Rose's point as well, I'm concerned it sends the wrong message. I think especially that with the debate and discussion that ensued around this particular topic, it's hard to get away from that. The statements that were made that did make it very clear or made it a sound that it was such that it could be putting people in buckets or labeling them. And I don't think that's a great way for us to go. And I think by leading by example and trying to keep the demeanor calmer, I'm encouraged to see that has happened, and I think we continue to see that. But I think there have been a lot of people who said here today, I made it very public. I did not support people outside of any of my colleagues' house to protest. I just think that there's a better way to do it, and that's why I think I'm very supportive and very protective of ensuring people feel that they are here to be heard by the people who are elected, who are there to serve them. And, I think the other part that's really important to think about is we spent 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe workshop discussions on this. And what I think is so important to reflect on is there are concerns and there are continued concerns, continued topics that they're repetitive that come forward that absolutely have school board business at the top of it. And we aren't talking about fixing those, but we spent 4 workshops on this particular item. And to me, that sends a really bad message too. So in my mind, we should not change it. We should keep it as it is, send a message to the community that maybe in the future, but right now is not the time, because we have work to do. We are listening. It doesn't mean we have to agree with every single thing that anybody says, but we know our job is here to serve our students, our families, all of our stakeholders, but for this public education, for the quality of education. And so that is why I won't support this.
Thank you. Mr. Edwards?
Okay. I don't want to have the community ever misunderstand anything. So that's why I am as transparent as I can be. As I stated in the workshop, the times stay the same unless it becomes a political rally, which we've all experienced. And we don't want to take any voices away. And quite frankly, I'd like to apologize to our student representative who had to sit here and listen to homophobic remarks, racist remarks. And I apologize that you had to sit there and listen to those types of public comments. So please accept my excuse me?
Excuse me, there was no,
I was
no,
speaking.
please speak, keep your comments to us.
And for the record, I am a Christian, and the pastor and the ministers and the priests that I've been involved with teach acceptance and love and no judgment and welcoming. That is where I come from.
Excuse me, this is not the time for the audience to be speaking. Mr. Edwards, listen to your comments.
So having said that, for me personally, a better way, and I appreciate all of the pontification that it might send a message. There is no message other to send that if that was an agenda item, by the way, that was a mask policy, all of the people that would come and speak about a mask policy would be on the front end of that conversation, not the back end. That would be an agenda item if we were voting on a mask policy. So it would only be general if it wasn't on the agenda. Same with CRT. If there was, for some reason, a motion that we were going to teach Black Lives Matter, that would be on the front end, and it would be an agenda item, and everyone would have the opportunity to speak. And then if it's not, it goes to the general. So all I'm saying is nothing really changed. It just made it more organized because, frankly, I agree with you. It is a sin that we have spent 4 workshops talking about the same nonsense over and over again. The mask policy, this change in public policy, because, and I will point something else out, I welcome all of you and all of your public comments, but you are not the entire community. You are a part of the community that I listen to, as Mr. Spiegelman gave me great ideas to look into about Unite Us, and I fixed something that he said. So I'm pointing out, and almost all of the parents that have pointed out specific issues that they have, and I'm going to follow up after that other gentleman that spoke on ESE. I'm going to find out, just like I spoke to all the parents here who have ESE issues, and I'm going to get to the bottom of them. But this kind of nonsense in our school board room is what I'm trying to get on the other side of, because it is time to talk instruction and academics. So that is my pontification, since all of you felt the need to do that.
Thank you. This also clarifies that, yes, the board, because we had language that we say before the meetings, there's language that's printed on the card, and then there was language in our policy 2.22. And it was pointed out to us by law enforcement and our attorneys, these things were not in agreement. So this was set up to clarify to the public, how they can speak to us, or not what they say, but how they fill out the cards and they come in. These people who have been coming every week, they know what they're supposed to do. They know they're supposed to fill in the cards. It also clarifies that this isn't a time for public discourse. When you talk to us, we can't answer. And like that gentleman that was here that was saying that his kid was sent home because he had a fever and didn't, yeah, I think we need to call him tonight to find out, let him know, should his kid come to school tomorrow? If they didn't have a temperature, does he have to wait? I don't know. But so I don't think parents really get their full hearing when they're here either. But it talks in this policy that if you have a problem, to take it up with the school or the superintendent. And your last option should be coming to the board, because we don't know what those specific details are, and we don't go into the school on the day-to-day basis. Also, it gives the public alternative ways to be heard. One of them is public comments at SarasotaCountySchools.net. Those emails, when they are here, we will get a copy of them, and they become a part of the minutes, an official recording of what happened at the meeting. Also, if they did not want to be in the minutes and they wanted to share something with the board, they can send it to school board members at SarasotaCountySchool.net or individual board members. So we are giving them more ways that it might be better for them to make those things, their voices heard. And we did not reduce the 3 minutes. We listened to what the public had to say, and we basically spelled out what the rules are. And I don't think we are changing things. We are ordering them and putting them in an orderly fashion. But we are not taking away the 3 minutes. We are allowing everyone to speak at the board meetings. We're just separating those that are on the agenda items that we have to vote on versus those that are public comment in general. And I would hope that we could all support this because we've heard from the public that our meetings have not always been in orderly fashion, and we'd like to see that they are in orderly fashion. And any other comments before we vote? So please vote. And the motion to advertise policy 2.2A passes 3-2. Are there any comments from the board?
We have more items.
Pardon me?
We got 2 more.
We still have 2 more. They keep adding things. All right, this is the number 24. Well, is it 24 or 25? I don't know what your numbers are versus my numbers now, because 24 was public participation.
25 is approval. I make a motion for approval of the board acknowledgement of completion of the Sarasota County School Board 2021 Florida Safe Schools Assessment.
Second.
Did we need to hear from Mr. Enos? Captain Enos?
24, it's fine. We can just go and that's fine.
Chief?
Yes, he's on his way.
It's 25 on mine.
It's fine. The motion is a motion. It's fine. We can go back to the other agenda item.
My agendas don't match up with what is on there, apparently.
Are we good?
Yes.
Awesome.
Go ahead, Chief.
Thank you, sir. Chair, Vice Chair, Board, Student Representative, Mr. DeLeo, Dr. Aspen, I appreciate everybody giving me an opportunity to come up here as part of the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas 7030 Senate bill. Is every year we have to come in and give you an update exactly in regarding to all of the schools in the assessment and find out if we have any deficiencies or anything that we need to change or we need to do something differently. Of course, the number one for the school district police department, and I know as well as the school board, as well as all the teachers, is the safety of our students so that they have a safe environment to learn. With that being said, I know we met at a workshop per Florida State statute, and we get a big update to you in reference to where we are with the police department and the rest of the things we're looking at the district. This goes along with it. I appreciate I'm going to have our school safety specialist, Jason Overbay, by statute. He is the one that gets the data, compiles the data, sends it to the state of Florida in reference to our compliance. I will tell you that as you listen to this, when we get to the end, I'll have a few closing comments, but without a question, we're leading the state of Florida, if not the nation, in school policing, and that was the commitment I told you 3 years ago when I started. And I am very, very appreciative of the opportunity that all of you have given me, and we will continue to lead and never look back, because school safety is absolutely our number one priority. So with that, Jason Overbay.
Mr. Edwards, you had a comment, or were you just saying about the 24? Because I would have thought the 24 would have been 25. I didn't realize they put it in front of instead of at the end of. Did you have any comments on this? I'd just like to say thank you, and we're so proud, Chief Enos, of what you have done and I know you are outstanding, not only in your field, but really, a leader in the nation. So we can vote on that.
No, they have to present.
Unless there's any more comments.
They are presenting.
We have another presenter. I should put my glasses on. I'm not seeing things. Go ahead, sir.
My name's Jason Overbay. I'm the school safety specialist. We are required by law to present this in an open forum. I'll go through it pretty quickly. As Chief Enos said, we did not have any deficiencies this year. We had 7 categories that we had to go through. Every school, all the administrators, including the charter schools, had to submit their SSAT findings to the Office of Safe Schools this year. These are the different areas in which the administrators had to look at their schools. We think that the SSAT is a wonderful tool because it requires administrators to look at safety and security in a different way than they do on a normal basis. The Sarasota County School District, we have exceeded or completed all of the different aspects that we are required to do through the FSAT. The only area of improvement that was brought to us by local law enforcement was to do better job of numbering our buildings, hallways, and windows. And we will start working with law enforcement and the fire department to do that before the FSAT is turned in again in 2022, 2023. Again, we are ahead of all aspects in school safety in this state because of the leadership of Chief Enos, and I appreciate your time.
So to follow up with that, and regarding to some of the recommendations that we're looking at, is that we're going to continue with the physical structure of the buildings right now, that we have all of the accesses done, all of the access cards, we have the automated lockdown, we have the in-room buttons that have to be pushed, we have panic buttons throughout the campus. We just got rapid deploy in reference to that's going to be looking at with the county, working with them in regard to the CAD, which we're now officially with the rest of the law enforcement agencies, as well as we're looking at continually. We talked a little bit earlier about the mental health assessment. We're doing the mental health training and assessment tool, as well as the Baker Acts. So there's a lot of things that we're going to continue to do. One of the things that we are also looking at is trying to, again, with our law enforcement partners and with them, makes us that much better, is looking at live feeds in regards to if there was happened to be any type of a, knock on wood, critical incident where they would have direct access and see it in real time. That's something that we are looking at really, really strongly, because I think that that is the next piece of the puzzle, especially with everything that's going on recently. With that, we really do appreciate everything. The faculty, when we talk about this, is 454 questions per school, per site, for every school, plus every charter. They have to get it back, and we have to provide this information to you and make sure that everyone is in compliance. And like I said, without a question, we lead the state, we lead the nation, and we're going to continue to do that. Facilities and Jody Dumas and his team, that they're really part of what we do because of the physical structure of the buildings. Just like here at the landings, it looks like tomorrow we'll be opening the black awning, which is now our new visitor for the landings, to make sure that we're proactive here. And protecting the staff as everybody comes in here through visit management, which will be through this building, how we are able to now open up the back end of the boardroom. So with that, we're going to keep on pushing forward, keeping our kids safe, and I thank everybody again.
Ms. Ziegler?
Thank you. Chief Enos, I had be remiss because this has to be done every year, and I believe this would be your last one that you would be delivering to us.
Yes, it is.
And I will, so for anyone who was following us back after MSD and the discussion of how to protect our schools, and the district went towards a private internal police department. I know my fellow board members who were serving with me at the time know I was very vocal and against it for a number of reasons, but that's not what I'm about to talk about. What truly, there were a lot of reasons why it was a lot of the unknown and the leadership or my concerns with where we were going. And when you came in, it was a massive breath of fresh air, because for anyone who doesn't know, and I know Mrs. Rose has mentioned this before too, but Chief Enos is a wealth of knowledge and a leader in the nation and well respected when it comes to school safety. And so we are incredibly blessed to have you and to give that report and show that we're leading the way. But it wasn't easy, I know, when you came in and you literally built it up from the ground and had to do it very quickly, and it wasn't from scratch because you had to kind of rework some things too. So I am very grateful for everything you do and for all of the officers and the role that you guys play. It's a very important role, but to the ends of the earth, I'm just very grateful for your service.
I truly appreciate. Thank you. That really means a lot to me. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Goodwin.
It's getting late. I, too, would like to say thank you for all you have done, Chief Enos. I was very supportive of our having our own police force for a number of reasons. You've made sure that all of my aspirations were met and completed. And, this isn't an easy thing to get as high marks as we do. A lot of school districts don't. They really still are struggling with this issue. But a child can't learn if a child doesn't feel safe. And first and foremost, one of the main things that we have to do is to make sure that we keep our schools and keep our students safe. And of course, it's been remarkable that we've had less incidents in schools over the course of the last 2 years. Maybe that's the only bright side of the pandemic. But we know that our students and our staff and our schools are safer with you. So thank you very much. Well done.
And I'd be remiss if I don't thank the men and women of the police department. I mean, they're there every single day fighting the good fight, using the training that they have to make sure that they're out there, to make sure that they're, people ask me all of the time, well, how do you prevent a school shooting? And I'll just say it. How you prevent a school shooting is building up trust within the students and the faculty so they come and bring it, so that when it's the see something, say something, that they come forward. And it's so important for us to make sure that we're out there building these relationships with the community, with the families, with the kids, because again, I'm a little superstitious, knock on wood, that we never, ever, ever do we want to have that in Sarasota County where we could have identified something and didn't take any action. So the crew that I work with is amazing. Wealth of years of service, everything from chiefs to SWAT members to narcotics guys. They want to come here to work at the school police department because a lot of it is the support that you guys give us. And this is a great community, and it's a safe community. And the partnership we have with the other agencies, there's nothing that they wouldn't do for us because they know the job that we do.
Thank you. And I'm glad Bridget brought up that, yeah, it wasn't all roses when we started with our own police department. And you talk about some contentious meetings. They were very contentious at the time. And I mean, not only were we talking about children's health, we were talking about children's lives, and we had this backdrop of all these children that were killed on the other coast. So tempers, emotions were very high, and I'm sure you had to think more than once and twice and three times on whether you wanted to step into that. But I'm glad we held true and that it did work out. And like I said, you've just been wonderful, and we truly, truly appreciate what you've done for us and this report, and that all of our schools are in top shape. We really appreciate it.
Well, I thank you very, very much.
So we will be voting, it was on item 25. There it is. And that passes 5-0. And I apologize because there is another item also, number 24, the tag contract. When we added something new, I couldn't look. I've got to look at the broadcast, I've got to look at the queuing, and then I look at the computer where the new agenda is, because the agenda I have doesn't match what we're doing because we've made a change at the board. So I apologize for that. And now we are going to item 24. Is there a motion?
I move that the contract between TAG Movement Consulting and the school board be approved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there comment? Ms. Rose?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I will not be supporting this agenda item. From my perspective, it is clearly controversial. And whether I agree or disagree, it is controversial. The win-win for me is best practices to find something that unites our community comprehensively. And I will again share what I have shared previously, given that Chief Enos was just at the podium sharing what we do, what he does and leads on behalf of the board with Safe Schools. He also is a model program for students at risk. I've observed it in action for a multitude of years, and he would be, and his staff would be the perfect example of a win-win. So again, I'm looking for best practices, a win-win, and I will not support something that brings forth controversy. Thank you.
Ms. Goodwin.
Well, I will be supporting this. Dr. Godfrey has done a remarkable job with some of our other schools. He is an African American. He will be working with a predominantly African American schools. Our children need to work with African American role models, and I really feel that he is a wonderful man and does a great job. I have worked with him in the past in other schools. I've seen him at work and how the children relate to him, and I think that this is a wonderful, wonderful opportunity for those children. And we're talking $40,000, not to exceed $40,000 in a year, not $40,000 a month. So just wanted to make that as well.
I also wanted to comment because I think just because something may be controversial doesn't mean it's not something we should do. And I think the item we had prior to this was a prime example. There were very deep divisions on whether or not we have our own police force, and we went ahead with that. But sometimes you do. You have to disagree and do what's best for the district. Dr. Asplin.
Yes, if I may, I just want to give just a little bit of information here. As you know, Dr. Godfrey is a social worker / mental health counselor, and he has had a positive impact on the Sarasota County school system for 3 years now. And this year, he will be working with 14 students that have behavioral and social emotional needs. And these students will have to have parent permission. And also, as you know, as I have done in the past, if there's anything that's inappropriate, we'll just terminate the contract. But I think he'll do a good job working with those students. And the last thing I wanted to mention, just so everyone knows, we have approximately 35 mental health therapists serving students in our schools through mental health contracts, and at least 20 additional counselors working with students and families throughout our district. And we also have around 10,000 volunteers in our district. So our students are with a lot of different people in our school district who are all helping those students, and they all have to have parent permission. So I just want to make sure everybody understands, the background here.
Mr. Edwards?
Yes, I know that we had this conversation, I think it was 2 months ago, and I was surprised that it was being pulled from consent back to new business so that we could have this conversation again when in fact we should be talking about instruction and ESE students and those types of things. So I apologize for my frustration because this is just part of the same nonsense that I think we go through time and time again that's involving political issues as opposed to instructional issues. Having said that, I will tell you that because I respect Dr. Asplin and I voted for Dr. Godfrey the last time on his recommendation, when it got pulled again, I decided, geez, maybe I'm missing something. So I, in fact, spoke to teachers. I spoke to principals. I got feedback from parents. And guess what? And students. Guess what? They love Dr. G. So this isn't something controversial as far as I'm concerned for the community. It's in the best interest of our students. So I will be supporting it.
Thank you. Seeing no other requests to speak, please vote. And item 24 passes 3-2. Are there any comments from members? Karen Rose?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm compelled to talk about our students and that are in special education, we call exceptional student education, particularly our high school students. I feel that as all board members do, I listen to parents, I've met with parents, and I feel that we have more than a semester left in this school year, and I know that our ESE department, special education department, and Dr. Asplin are working in training for parents and et cetera, and I commend that. I'm all for it, I reinforce it, I support it. I have to say I feel like we have a vacuum, and that vacuum surrounds access to career courses in my perception. That vacuum surrounds being prepared to graduate high school and have successful employment and the skills needed to be an independent adult. I would like to see this board and or the superintendent initiate some kind of forum with parents of high school students. I believe that vacuum exists, and I don't think it's anywhere near too late to look at how we assess how prepared are our students that are graduating in 2022. How prepared are they to for college, for career access? I'm not going to say I know facts, but I'm going to say that I feel very confident that we could do much better and that a semester is time to make some changes, particularly with those seniors. And I would be remiss if I didn't push this. I'm not saying it as a criticism of our staff. I think we have the best staff in the state of Florida. I do. I think we have the best community and parents, and we have foundations that I would be very pleased to see them get involved. Whether it's access to our technical college, and who are these students, what can we do to change how they're graduating? We're only in October, and we've got plenty of time to focus in on a senior group of students that I feel are in a vacuum, and I'm individually holding myself accountable for that. Thank you.
Mr. Edwards.
I welcome that conversation. I think that's a terrific idea. I've been doing things like that behind the scenes already for our graduates, primarily for the next school year for long-term change, but I would be all for short-term change as quickly as we possibly can. My only concern about that, and I'm signed on if we can do it, I think the superintendent needs time to sort of digest how, and so does our administration, to see how this would work. But I want to, because we've got this brand new strategic plan that involves a lot of that, so I want to make sure that we're not stepping on toes and creating more work and spinning wheels. So I throw that back to the superintendent to help direct how we can maybe make some immediate changes which are necessary. I agree. And make sure that we're, again, as I said, not spinning wheels and stepping on toes.
Ms. Ziegler.
Thank you. And Mrs. Rose, thank you for that recommendation. I know, and thank you to all the parents who have come and spoken up. And I know it's not easy, and I know you're very passionate. That's my word lately. I'm sorry. I keep saying passionate. But, and I agree. I think that time is never earned back, especially when you think about children and whatever, whether K or through 12. And so, and I appreciate Mrs. Rose bringing in her, her expertise, because as a teacher, an ESE teacher and an administrator, I know you have that knowledge from a different perspective, but being able to provide that up here. But when we talk about timing, and I'm not on the spot, but what I do worry is that if you could come back to us with some, and whether we add that to a workshop, but because there are so many times we can meet and what needs to be addressed, but the urgency in my mind really does need to be there, short and long term. So, and I think there's been a lot of patience wearing thin. And that, to Mrs. Rose's point, there's a lot of great. This is not just because we're talking about where we can improve is not an insult, or it's not directed in a negative way to staff overall. I think it's just. But this is an area we know we can improve. We need to improve, and we need to do it now.
Dr. Asplin.
Yes, thank you for bringing that up, Ms. Rose, and I appreciate it. I agree 100%. I know the staff agrees too 100%, and we've had many conversations so far, and as Mr. Edwards said, I know he's been in some of those conversations as well with his entrepreneur background, and one of the things, just to let you know, a couple of things that we have been working on. We did send a group to South Fort Myers High School. They are their entire school is a trades academy, and it was pretty impressive. And we learned quite a bit from them, and we brought that information back, and we are working through that with our CTE program and our principal over at Riverview High School at the moment. Also looking at, we've had conversations with the Chiva Credit Union and working through some business type CTE issues as far as how we can help our students with financial literacy and so on and so forth. We're also looking at having job fairs again now that COVID has come to an end. That, as you know, COVID kind of hit us pretty hard with a lot of things that we were doing. But no excuses. We need to move forward, and we need to move forward quickly and help our students, especially those who are graduating this year. And then as we move forward, as Mr. Edwards said, long term, what are we doing for our students overall, for all of our students in our high school, and making sure that they have a plan of action when they leave high school. So that is on our plate. It is part of the strategic plan. I know Steve Cantis especially has been working on the college and career centers and what those actually need to look like. How do we go to the next level? How do we help our students to participate with that? And so we're looking at all different avenues and getting others involved. Other teachers, Ms. Hamlin, I know she's been involved. Ms. Cottrell, she's been involved. So we're working through all that, and it's all a fantastic idea, and we'll just try to get it done as quickly as we can as we move forward.
And maybe we can discuss some of it at our retreat next week on the 27th. Ms. Rose?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to step on toes, and I want to see a plan before staff knows me, and I say that in the most positive manner. I think there's nothing more important than the students who need us the most and those that are in seniors right now. And specifically, I'd like to ask the superintendent and his staff publicly to look at reading courses as we look at the second semester that are required for students to take, and incorporate those reading strategies into career courses, and let's start giving them access effective January. That can be done with a reading endorsed teacher, can incorporate and meet the state criteria in another course that a student is interested in going to, and not being singled and separated out upon entering the world as an adult. I'd also like to see some program plan and pathway for seniors that are in our lower quartile that have not had this access or this training, particularly those students with special needs, have a designated pathway to our technical college, which is well known for being the best in this region of the United States. And if we aren't going to provide a pathway for our own students, our neediest students, that we are responsible for providing an economic foundation in this community, Sarasota County. I would like to see internships for these students with local businesses. There are so many things that we could be doing, and we have well more than a semester to do it. And I don't think it interferes with the strategic plan whatsoever. And even if it did, I say interfere.
Thank you. Any other comments from the board? We will have our retreat where we were going to be talking about some of the plans and looking over the data. The board next week on Wednesday, and the next monthly work session is scheduled for Tuesday, November 2nd. Are we going to have that work session on November 2nd? We're looking at,
We were hoping that the third Tuesday in November for the next workshop.
okay, scratch that work session on the 2nd and move it to.
However,
However,
it is part of our calendar for this year, so I think you would need to vote just to have one workshop next month, or we will have to have two next month.
So to be clear, that's November 2nd, meeting only, no workshop.
Right.
I move that we cancel November 2nd's scheduled workshop.
is there a second? Come on, Jane.
Do we want to vote on board meeting times and workshop all in one?
Well, this one, that's, the November 2nd is, we don't
Okay,
meet
do
again.
that separately.
And I think that one needs a little finessing before we vote on that one.
So move to
The second.
cancel the workshop on November 2nd.
November 2nd.
And just have a board meeting.
All right, so that's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed.
We ended
In the workshop today, we were talking about next year's calendar, and a discussion was brought up to move all of the meetings to 6 p.m. instead of the 3 o'clock on the third Tuesday. And then there also was discussion on moving the meeting that was on election days, November 2nd, I believe, and then this, in August, also moving those to the Thursday so that staff and everyone else can vote and not be caught up in that. Those will be looked at again and voted on at our organizational meeting. So if you have any comments on those, please share them with us. And there is no other business before the board. I call this meeting to a close.